What's up, you podheads? It's been a while since I've just said that, huh? Anyway, so I, for a short period of time, made a D&D dedicated YouTube channel, but I didn't do a whole lot with it, so anything that comes from that channel is going to be going to this channel. Starting off with some homebrew. So I know plenty of people have made homebrew stuff out there, and I'm going to steal a lot of their stuff, like enemies, and mostly enemies, for my own home games. But I personally took it upon myself, which still probably is going to need some tweaking in the future, as most things do. But I made D&D Races homebrew to use in your own home games. Now, I will put a link in the description below for anybody who wants to just read it or use it for yourselves. If you want to run a Zelda DnD game, bam, you got it. But this video, I'm just going to go ahead and kind of talk over it and kind of explain my thinking. Now, don't mind the pictures. I did not want to learn the HTML and all this stuff for adding the pictures, so I just kind of threw pictures in there. But I'm considering this an expansion to D&D, so all 5e rules, just with the world of Hyrule and its races. Now, I think the best way to make it the story as pliable as you can is having events take either before the timeline or after the timeline, like to make it as moldable as possible. And like for me, I'm gonna have the exclusion of Ganondorf and Hero of Time, or not Hero of Time, but the hero, just personally to make it more like your players are the heroes instead of aiding the hero. But talk with your players about that and see if you actually just want a party to aid the hero and still be a big part of whatever. Now, starting off, we're going to be going over Hylian, which is basically like the human of Hyrule. They are elven in basically just the ears. Like, people think that they are elf, but when you think about D&D elves, the Hylians are more human than they are elf. But yes, this is the race that is majority in Hyrule. You'll find Hylians in most places. They take up the most land, so they are as common as humans in D&D or our world. Ability score: you will raise your con by 1 and your wisdom by 1. The lifespan, which is most creatures in Zelda, I have learned. Lifespan is about 100 years. Alignment is, I say true neutral because it is a wide range of Hylians. So usually true neutral to neutral good is where you're going to find most Hylians, though. They're, average between 5'5" to 6 feet, just like humans. Base speed is 30. Tool proficiencies, which I got a little more exact with my tool proficiencies opposed to 5e, where most tool proficiencies are simple weapons, martial weapons, bam. Which I know is also a class thing, whatever. So one-handed weapons, shields, medium armor, and their language is Hylian, which most people's language is Hylian. Hylians like to travel a lot and do research. In turn, any checks done with history gets an advantage. So that's a nice little trait that Hylians get, is they get advantage on history checks. So nothing crazy. Hylians are very base. Their best class, their best class is fighter. Now we got the Kokiri. Kokiri are children of the forest. Normally you would not find them outside of said forest. Things could happen. They could leave. Ability score, you get +2 in intelligence. They have an unknown age, because they seem to live forever until they one day disappear, but they do stay childlike their entire lives. They are usually lawful neutral, That's their alignment. Average size between 3 and 4 feet because they stay children forever. Base speed is 25 because they stay so small. Tool proficiencies, light weapons, and light armor. Nature. Since Kokiri's are so into the Force, they know a lot about nature. Any nature checks gets advantage on the roll. And their best class is Druid. Now, with your players and with my players, if there's anything lore-wise that you guys should add, to add to the stats and traits, if you think it makes sense, go for it. Because I'll be tweaking this just as much as you guys would. Now we got Sheikah. Sheikah is a race, even though they look like Hylians. For the most part, they are a separate race. They are an ancient race, who are inventors and great fighters, very ninja-like fighters. So for your ability score, you raise your dex by 1 and your intelligence by 1. They can live about 120 years, so a little bit more average lifespan than a Hylian. They're chaotic good because they are inventors. They like to do good, but by their own hands. Their size is about 5'3" to 5'9". The base speed is 35 because of their roots. Tool proficiencies, light armor, thieves tools, light weapons, tinkering tools. Inventor. While they are good at stealth, they are also inventors. You get to have the tinkering feature and be able to build. They have the language of Hylian and Sheikah. And their best class is an artificer. Now, honestly, an artificer and a rogue multi-class is as Sheikah as you can get. Now we got the Gerudo. They are a race of warrior women, so up to DM to decide to force that onto their players. But lore-wise, they are warrior women, except for every 100 years a male is born and is usually crowned king, you know, until the whole Ganondorf thing happened. They are strong-willed, and they also live in the desert and very used to the sand and heat. You raise your con score by 2. They live also about 100 years. They are usually chaotic neutral, which I might change that to be lawful neutral. About 5'6" to 6'2", because they can be pretty short, but they also can be pretty tall. Base speed is 30. Their tools proficiencies are martial weapons, finesse, and shields. So theirs is a little more wide range. Heat resistance can resist. They can resist extreme heat weather. So anything that would probably screw up most people, they're fine with it. Being a race of warrior women, you are great with combat. You can use your reactions to counter a melee attack. Must do a strength check. They got the Hylian language and the Gerudo language because that's the thing. And best class, fighter, of course. Now we have Zoro. Now we're getting really interesting. They are a race of fish people who also have lungs like humans, so they live on land and in the water simultaneously. You raise your charisma by 2. They can live up to 350 years, so they do live for quite a while. Now, depending on your time frame, Zoras could be either lawful neutral or chaotic neutral. Now, that chaotic neutral is an asterisk. It leads a little bit more towards chaotic evil, up to a certain point, chaotic neutral, or then all the way up to lawful neutral. Size is about 5'7" to 6'4", and some can grow even larger than that. Usually, kings tend to grow huge. Base speed is 30, but in water it's 60. So you have a 60 feet. You have a 60 feet swimming speed because they are insanely fast in water. Tool proficiencies: you got finesse weapons and spears. And obviously, water breathing. They can breathe underwater because they are fish. Language is Hylian. Best class, I decided to go with Paladin for the best class. Now, when I say best class, that's obviously just what I recommend, but obviously you can play any class you want. It's D&D, you can do whatever the fuck you want. Now we got the Rito. They are bird people, so we're going the complete opposite. We went from the sea and now we're in the air. They like to live in high areas, mountains. Once believed to be evolved from the Zora. You raise your dexterity by 2. They could also live up to about 100 years, give or take. They are true neutral. Their size is about 5'5" to 6 feet. Base speed is 30, flying is 60. So you have a flying speed of 60 feet. Because they are bird people. Tool proficiencies, bows and arrows of all kind, and light weapons. Then we got flying. Being bird people, Rito can fly, but in order to fly and attack at the same time, you need an upward gust of wind. Now, when once you start flying, you do create an upward gust within a 15-foot radius. You also have cold resistance, live in high places. You are very resilient to the cold. Language is Hylian and best class obviously is Ranger. Now Gorons, they are a race of rock people. Very heavy but very strong. They live in Death Mountain, which is basically the only place they can live, or it's the best place they can live. They may look intimidating but are very nice. Also cannot swim. Gotta put that out there. You raise your strength by 2. They live about 80 years old, so they have a smaller lifespan. Usually neutral good. They're about 5. They can be 5'7" to 7 feet tall. Usually a little bit closer to that 7 feet. Base speed is 25, but if you dash, you go into a roll. Your dash is 40 feet. Tool proficiencies are 2-handed weapons. Heat impervious. Gorons are not affected by heat in any way, and they could even resist lava. So now roll, dash. If you decide to dash, you can damage enemies on the way. They need to make a strength saving throw and be a 10 plus your strength. Now, last but not least, we got the Twilight. They are a race from a different dimension. They are used to the dark and powerful in the dark arts. Not much are known about them in Hyrule. Your intelligence gets raised by 2. Their age and alignment is unknown. They're about 5'5" to 6 feet tall. Base speed is 30. Tool proficiencies, light armor, simple weapons, magic items. Dark vision, they can see up to 60 feet. So as you can tell, I gave no one dark vision because that doesn't make sense in the lore of Hyrule. But the Twilight does get dark vision because of where they live and stuff. Magic resistance. Twilight are resistant to anything related to magic, but weak towards light. Radiant damage. They speak Hylian and the Twilight, and their best class is Wizard. Now, some of this is going to need tweaking and work with all of that, but this is basically what I have for races. Now, I added a little bit more past the races, giving you ideas for items and tools. So, got magic rods, which have charge for fire, ice, sand, tornado. You got a Deku leaf, can cause a gust of air. Fire arrows, ice arrows, lightning arrows, light arrows, elemental, and other elemental arrows. Hook shot, launch shot, claw shot, double claw shot, sorry, can grapple you to further distances. Deku stick is literally just a stick, but made out of Deku. Deku knot, you can concuss enemies, meaning if used, you could stun enemies. Lens of truth, you can see what is invisible. Iron boots, Pegasus boots, hover boots, different boots for different situations. Like iron boots make you heavier. Pegasus boots give you your dash speed is doubled, let's say. Hover boots, you get to hover 10 feet or 30 feet would probably be the better. Yeah. Silver gauntlets, gold gauntlets, grants extra strength. You got the Ocarina, Flute, and Harp for instruments. You got Buzzy Beetle if you want to remotely grab and drop items. Dominion Rod if you want to control certain statues. And Magic Whip, a whip that is magical. We also got currency, so if you are going to use Hyrule currency, which green is 1, blue rupees are 5, yellow is 10, Red is 20, purple is 50, silver is 100, and orange is 200 rupees. Now, I didn't make any stat blocks for any enemies, but there are enemies that you can use that you could equate to D&D enemies. You got like Armos, Dark Knight, Keys, Gibdo, Lamala, like Lionel, Molden, Lever, Octrock, Selfos, Rope, Pulse Voice, Wallmaster, Tektite, Wizrobe, Zol, P-Hat, Vire, Bokoblins, Dodongos, Guinea, stuff like that. And that is the end of my homebrew. So again, there is some tweaking that needs to be done. But I like to think that is a very solid foundation. Like right after this video, I'm going to do a little bit of tweaking on Goron, because I think I could better explain his role ability and stuff like that. But I hope you at least you could use this and tweak it your own and use it in your own home games if you want to be in the world of Hyrule. I know I'm going to try to get that done ASAP. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'd like to thank Cybercore for being the stream team I'm a part of. And if you want to talk about D&D and other topics and keep the conversation going over at Podheads Discord server, link down below. You can also follow me on Twitter and Facebook at PlayPodCo. If you like the video, give a good old like and subscribe to the YouTube channel you are on right now, which is PlayPod. And until next time, bye.